Okay, let's continue our lesson from Microsoft Word. So I'll just do a little review on what we've done so far, and then we'll kick into what we are supposed to do proper today. For now, Microsoft Word. Of course, remember how to access. Most likely, it will be pinned here on our taskbar. So you can see, you can just come down here, click on it for it to open, or you click on the start menu, and of course, it's pinned down here too. Or if not, you can just type Word. It will most likely be the first app that will appear there. So not WordPad, but just Word. Okay, so let's get into Microsoft. So you can see. So in our last class, we've been able to cover up all of this. We started from file, we got into the clipboard, we touched a little part of the font, but for the purpose of going back, let's just start all over. And here's of course the manual we are using for this class. So Microsoft, we said, is a word processing application software. Word processing application software. Now, it's developed by Microsoft, a corporation based in the United States. What is it used for? Creating, editing, formatting, and sharing text-based documents. Now, we use Microsoft Word to create text-based documents. That is, documents that are most likely text. Now, we have different types of files or different types of documents in the computer, and we made mention of them at the start of this class. So we have video files or MP4 files, we had MP3 files, we had JPEG, which are pictures, and so on and so forth. And each file or each type of document is distinguished by its extension and what it does, as well as the kind of software or application that can run it. Now, for the case of text-based documents, we have Microsoft as one of the application softwares that interacts helps us interact with text in our computer. So with Microsoft Word, we are able to create, edit, format, and share text-based documents. Now, Microsoft Word is not the only text-based or text editor in the Windows operating system. We have other text editors, which of course, when you typed Word initially, I told you about not clicking on the WordPad. WordPad is also a text editor. You can see. So you will notice that it has a lot of similarities with the Microsoft. In fact, let's put them side by side so we can now see. You notice that we have similar outlook on the menu bar here, even though there are not much functions as it is in Microsoft. But you get the point. So Microsoft Word is not the only text editor we have in the Windows operating system. We have the WordPad. We also have the Notepad. The Notepad is also a text editor. But then, like I said in the previous class, what distinguish all of these word processing application softwares are their dexterity in functions, the kind of functions they perform. Now, if you take a look at the word pad, you notice that it has limited functionalities. We just have the home, have file, home, view, and that's all. When you come down to Microsoft, you have draw, design. So it's packed with a lot of functionalities that makes it easy for persons or individuals to carry out their day-to-day activities. Now, remember, all of these tools are productivity tools. Now, we'll go further in the class. I'm going to be showing you other productivity tools, uh, mostly the ones used or the ones designed and created by Google. But for now, let's stick to Microsoft and all its productivity tools. So, as I said before now, let's just do a little review and then jump into what you're supposed to do for today. Now, on the clipboard, we have the paste, cut, copy, and format painter. Now, let's take a look at what they are again. Now, remember that for us to initiate any change to any text or any word or group of words, we must highlight them. So, for instance, I've done that to this, so I have to highlight this, and we talked about how to highlight, right? So, I can just highlight just this or highlight a group of words. So, you can see that immediately we highlighted, this became active. That means we can either cut, copy, but this is not active because cut and copy function have not been initiated. We've not initiated them. So once I do this copy, that means I can now paste, right? So copy, I can paste somewhere else. Now, to copy is to make a duplicate of this highlighted group of words. Here is it. Here it is. Let's come down to this point. I'm going to be destructing the document, but of course, we're going to undo all what we've done so the document is still kept clean and active. So you notice that that's the group of words we highlighted here. So by using the copy command, or as you can see here, the Ctrl plus C, take note of this please, the shortcut key. So the Ctrl plus C, or by clicking on copy, we've been able to copy this into the clipboard and then make a duplicate of it somewhere else. Now let's go down to, let's perform another function. Or now cut, you can see, remove the selected and put it on the clipboard so you can paste it somewhere else. Self-explanatory. Cut is off there and then you can paste it somewhere else. So cut and come down to this point and say, oh, this is what I want to paste here. Do you get the point? So it's all about functionality of what we want to do. So if you want to move some text or group of text from a particular place, you don't want it to exist there anymore, to another location, you use your cut. Or if you want to duplicate and just make a copy of it somewhere else, use the copy. And the paste is generic for the both of them. So either you're cutting or you're copying, the paste is used, right? Format painter. Now, format painter, let's assume I have this as the text style and I have it on this column, and I want to format something else. Let's assume I want to format this part of the document to be like this other part. Instead of coming down to this other part and highlighting them, this group of text to perform the same function, come back here, do this, and then come down. It's all stressful and reputational process. I can just come down here, copy this format painter, and then when I get to where I want to, boom, So it saves you time, and then it saves you energy too. So instead of going down there to repeat the process all over, you just perform one function by copying the same formats that have been made or edits that have been made on this particular part, and initiating it at this other part. So that's what it does. So over to the font part of the home. So let's get into font. So let's quickly undo all of these changes to keep our work neat. Okay, so we're back to the base. Now, font, right? Under font, we have font or the font face. So pick a new font for your text. You can see, or we can use shortcut key Control plus Shift plus F. So Control Shift F on your keyboard. It brings out this dialog where we can select a new font, blah blah blah. But let's skip all of this part and then get into it from here. Now remember, we must highlight whatever we want to format on Microsoft, right? So this is it. Having been highlighted, you can come down here. If you remember or you know the name of the type of font you want to use, you can just come down to this point and easily type it. For instance, let's say Comic Sans MS. You can see that's the change of font. Now, this change of font is likened onto the different type of handwriting individuals possess, right? So if you want to change from different fonts to another, now most times here's why changing of fonts are very important for contrast and for readability. Now there are types of fonts that will not go well in certain background or that cannot mix well with certain colors when you are designing. When you get deeply into designing and all of this, you get to know why fonts are very important. Now, for readability and for contrast, right? So most times for colorfulness or to just make our work look beautiful and all. But the major part or the major functionality of using the major reason for using different fonts is for readability and then to distinguish your work from another. So most times, okay, I have a lecturer then in the university that always want to use a particular font. I think his font while setting examinations or giving out his materials, I think was it geometric? Okay, yeah, geometric. So you always know this lecturer was the one that set this question or has this document whenever you see this font style. So most times it can be used to create identity. So after highlighting, if you have a font style you normally or you're comfortable with, you can always come here and then type and then enter. So apart from this, check here. You see that we have a little arrow very close to that search area or the box, search box or whatever we want to call it. You notice that we have a little arrow here. Now this little arrow indicates that we have other fonts that can be explored. Let's click on it. Now have you seen? Now if you take a good look at this, you'll notice that we have over 2 to 300 free fonts that we can use on Microsoft. And all of this is sufficient enough for you to do anything you want to. Now, down from serif to sans serif font, and then italic or stylish font. All of them are packed here. It's just for you to pick the one you wish to make use of. You can come down here and say, okay, this is the one I want to make use of. And that's it. So that's it for font. Let's undo and go back to the original document. Okay. Now you can see this is bold already. That's why this is showing that it's active. So whichever function you have on your document, oftentimes for those that are set to be that way, they are highlighted. And this italic, bold, on bold. So when it's not active, you see it's not showing active here. When it's not initiated, it's not showing that it's active here. When initiated, it will be showing active status here. Active, non-active, bold. So bold increases the thickness of your font as you've seen it appear here. So bold, bold, not bold. So we have the italic, slightly slant your text. Now this is for styling and a lot of other functions that you may want to get into. Now there are some certain types of documents that requires you to use italic formation. So let's keep it as bold as it was. Now underline, underline, underline. Okay. Now when you click on this arrow down here, notice that we have different types of. Now remember how I said when there's an arrow in front of it, it means there are a lot of other functions we can explore, or other types or forms of that function we can explore under. So that's why we have this. You can see we have different types of. Now more underline. If you want more underline, click on it. Underline color can be selected as well. So if you want blue, red, yellow, or thereabouts, you can see. So none to remove underline. So what's the function or the shortcut key for underline? Let's hover over it and see Control plus U. Now if you check the shortcut keys, list of shortcut keys I sent to you, you notice that this is also there. Right. So this comes in handy when we are typing and we don't want to be obstructed by using our mouse. You just easily highlight Control plus U on your keyboard as you type, and then it initiates that command. Okay, so let's go on to this other part. Standing very close to this guy is the font size. Now you notice that this font size we have here is 11. If you are to increase this just like this, we can come here and enter the font size we want. Then enter on the keyboard. You can see the size reduced a bit. 15 increased. So that's how to go about it. Now you can enter sizes even in fractions. What do I mean? 20.6. Oh, an invalid number. Oops. Oh, okay. 0.5 should work. 20.5. Okay, you see. 0.5 worked. 30.5. Okay, so 0.5, which is a fraction indicating half, right? 30.6 will not work. Okay. So it will only go as far as half of size. It's alright. Now, if you just like we said for here and here, other sizes are here. You can see. So the reason why we have this is to let you know that the other sizes we can explore. But take note of this. You can see the highest size we have here is 72, but we are not relegated to just 72. That's why we have this search box here. You can put in 100, and it goes. Can you see? So that's what it is. Like I said, I'll always be on doing to keep our work neat and back to the original. Now we highlight again. Now notice how I always highlight when I want to edit or format anything here. That's because, as I said, whatever you're formatting or making any changes to must be highlighted. That's you telling the computer or telling Microsoft application that this is the portion I want to initiate these changes on. If you don't highlight and you just okay, I don't highlight and I just come here and put 24. What you are telling it is the next text I type from this point, make it 24. This is what I mean. Do you get it now? So you have to highlight to effectively communicate what you want to do to the computer. In this case, Microsoft Word. So let's highlight this part and move on. Now, notice this arrow up, arrow down. Here you have increase font size, reduce font size. So instead of coming to type or click here to select, you can just come down here, increase, reduce, increase, you can see, reduce. Do you notice the difference? Okay, so that's cool. Now you see. Okay. Okay. So down here we have change case. Now remember we have capital letters, we have lowercase or uppercase, or capital letters or small letters and the rest. This is where we can initiate all of those. There's a shortcut key for this. Let's see if it gives us, or it does not give to us, but the shortcut key is Shift F3. Holding down the Shift key on the keyboard, Shift plus F3. So Shift plus F3 is a shortcut key to initiate or to change our case into different types of case. So without me pressing this, see how I can quickly change the case of this from the keyboard, holding down on Shift F3. Okay, in order to get this keyboard on screen keyboard to see what I'm doing. So on screen keyboard. Okay, so pay attention to the keyboard here. So you notice what I'm pressing. So Shift, you can see F3. See, so I'm holding down the Shift key and pressing the F3. Oh, F3 is not showing on the on-screen keyboard. No, that defeats the purpose of bringing out the keyboard. But I hope you get the point. So is to come down here, select sentence case. Sentence case means, remember how we taught in primary school or secondary or thereabout, whichever one, that every sentence starts from what? Capital letter, and the rest of the words apart from nouns in that sentence are small letters, right? So when you select sentence letter, let's assume I break this now and I say, oh, sentence, come down here and say sentence case. Only the first will be highlighted as it is here. But when it was here, and I highlighted it, just that I press sentence case, notice how it did not change, no change was effected. That's because it is in a sentence, right? Okay, hope you understand that. Um, let's move over to lowercase. Of course, it's on lowercase already, so no more difference. Uppercase, capitalize each word. So capitalize each word is the opposite of sentence case. So if you say capitalize each word for this, you can see every word, every single word, start of every word is capitalized. Notice that. Okay. So let's quickly undo that. So we have, okay, like I said, we'll be undoing all of this. Okay, so back to base. Now the next one is toggle case. So toggle is make it look what do we call it now? Automatically choose any pattern. You can see. So some are capitalized, some are not. Some are starting with capital letters, some are starting with small letters, and so on and so forth. So that's it. So that is it for that, and we move over to the next this part. Okay. So strike through. Highlighting this to strike through is to use this. Now see the function. Do you get it now? So is to just now notice in some okay, where is this mostly used? Commercials, yeah, that's true. So in commercials where you have say in an initial price and a new price. Say okay, it was going for 50, say $50. Now what, $20. Permit me to use dollar. So we can now strike this out. Initial price $50, current price $20. It makes sense, and then make sure that oh, this has been struck out. So back to initial format. So that's what it's used for. Now, an interesting function. This is an interesting function. The subscript and the superscript. Where are these used? Well, in cases where we have um, formulas or unconventional text. Conventional text follow one straight line, and then formulas you see some on top, some are below, over some line, then something like square root, raised to the power of h2o, where the 2 is below the h and so on. So let's just simulate something like that. So h2o, oh sorry, h2o, that's formula for water in chemistry, right? And then let's see 2 raised to the power of 4. How do you get all of this done? And that's where subscript and superscript comes in. So for the 2, not to initiate this, remember we have to highlight what we want to format. So it's to highlight just the 2, come down to subscript h2o. You can see, there you go. You have formula for water effectively written out. Now highlight the 4, superscript, and that is all. Now there's a shortcut key for this. Shortcut for all of this. We check this. You notice that Control Shift plus plus, Control Shift plus minus, Control plus Shift plus, minus. Okay, let's simulate it. Okay, back to base. So Control plus Shift plus. Let's see. Okay, take a look at this point. No, nothing. Okay, take a look at this. I wish the on-screen keyboard would be able to get us this, but it wouldn't. Okay, let's try that. Let's check it out to see. Let's check out to see if the on-screen keyboard will give us this. Let's see if the on-screen keyboard will give us that. On-screen keyboard. Okay. It should. Okay, it should. So let's put it up here and highlight just this. Control Shift. Okay. Now plus. Now here is minus. This is plus. This is minus. This is plus. Minus. You see, it goes down. Plus, it goes up. So minus will take it down. Plus take it up. So what I want to press this on the keyboard. So I'll just locate where minus is or plus. So I'll get to sit to get it. So plus minus. So for the case of 4, Control Shift and then plus. So there you go. There you go. So let's go back to the nation. Okay. So that's it for superscript and subscript. Next is okay. Next is the clear all format. Now, okay, let me go back to this. Let's see how we can use that. Okay. Now I can highlight all of this and say clear all format. Any format that have been made, any formatting that have been made on this, I can clear it off. And it goes back to the original state of the text, the default. Okay. So that's what it does. If I highlight this and say clear all format, it takes it to the original state of this document when it was typed. The first format and all that was on it when it was typed. It takes it back to it. So we have text effect that is mostly used on headings. You see? So that's just what it does. You can see putting different types of formats or effect on headings to make them pronounced or more visible. So for highlighter now, this is how when you are reading a book for physical highlighter, it works just like the way physical highlighter works. So when you highlight this and say, oh, I want to highlight this part. Maybe you want to call someone's attention to that part or your own attention to that part later on. You say, well, most times I use this when I'm trying to do a project or maybe I'm brainstorming on Microsoft and I want to remember where I was initially. So I just quickly highlight that with different colors. You see? So you can choose the color you want. Remember, whenever you see an arrow, it signifies that there are other options than it. So there you go. So the next thing I want us to talk about is the color. Yes. And that will be a wrap for fonts. And we move to the next phase, to a paragraph. Let's highlight something. Color. Right. More options. Is this way? Let's go to more colors. Okay. Green. Okay. You see? So there you go. Red. There you go. So that's it. You can see. So that's just it. Used to color your text and add different colors to your text. So that's just what it was basically. So that brings us to the end of fonts. Up next, paragraph. So paragraphs. Now, notice how let's undo one of this. Notice how all of these are well arranged. You can see well arranged. These we have this starting from here, have this starting from this point and so on, right? So we have this is another level, and all. And then you notice that we have, okay, notice that this is left aligned. That means all of these are starting in order. On the left side, we have right alignment where text are aligned on the right side and so on. Notice how all of those are. So that's how it is for documentation too. When we're typing documents from Microsoft. So first off, let's start from the first and most important part of the paragraph. Let's start from where we have a lot of text. Okay, I think it's more visible here. Okay, so we have this. It's left aligned already. We have central alignment, left alignment, shortcut key, Control plus L, central alignment, put it in the middle. Now let's come up to this point. It will be more visible here. You can see left alignment, center alignment, move to center, right alignment, move to the right. Justify. Justify means let there be equal margin on both the right and left. Okay, you won't notice that here. Let's put it on somewhere that has a lot of text. Uh, okay, this point we have a lot of text here. So you see, centralize. You can see everything is falling in the center. Left, align to the left. Right, everything aligned to the right. Justify. Notice how it's both left and right, right? So that's it for that. Then this line spacing, you can see it explains itself, right? Okay, so I put some shortcut keys for line spacing too. Notice adverts coming from the software I'm using. So that's it. You can remove, add before paragraph, remove after paragraph. So before paragraph there's line spacing, after paragraph there's line spacing. If you notice carefully, you notice that. See, remove, just add before. Do you notice that? Okay, so that's it for that. Now bulletin. Now this is where we're able to add. Okay, you can see none, bullets, this, and that. So we can even define new bullets. You know, so create either it's a picture or a symbol, whichever one used to create a bullet. You can see that's how it will appear. You see, so that's just how all of these things work. So I say none for numbering. You can see numbering either numbers with bracket, Roman numerals, or capitalized letters or capitalized lowercase letters, lowercase letters with a full stop, Roman numerals on lowercase, and so on and so forth. So that's what we have. So that's how we're able to format this document. For this, you can see where we have, as I was telling you then, where we have different grades. Where was that? Okay, that was it. So you can see different. So this is where you get it from. So you can now select if you have other options or headings, different headings aggressively downward. You can use any of this. You see, mostly when you're writing a project or you're doing a research work, that's where this comes in handy. Okay, so we have indentation. Now, indentation or indent, let's come down to the top so you understand. Now, take a look at this arrow. Here's this arrow and this arrow. You see this thing that looks like a ruler? It's actually called a ruler, used to mark where your text or document is starting from and where it's ending. Now, take a look at it. See, you can see once I click on this point, when this arrow comes, see, you can see that's where my text is starting from. This is where it's ending. Let's scroll down a bit so that you understand. It cannot exceed this point. No text will ever exceed this point. So that's what the indentation is all about. So that's this text has been indented to this particular, has been confined to this particular size. So we can add more indent and say increase the indent of the text or reduce it. This also has a shortcut key, which of course I've written down on the shortcut key document I sent to you. So we have the styles. Okay, I'm not sure we're done with this paragraph. Okay, so we have shading. It's just used to add shades to our work in form of color. You see, so that's all. Then we have sorting. I think this one is very tricky, but let's practicalize it. We'll go down to the very last point. Okay, okay, this was the example we were working on the last time. Okay, let's work on that. So I have 1, 2, 3, 2, 5, 7, 9, 4, 6, 10. Now this is arranged and it's very scattered. How about, is there a way I can now rearrange everything from the order of lowest to highest or highest to lowest? Of course, that's where this comes in. Ascending order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, there's no 8. 1, 7, 9, 10. You see? So that's the function of that sorting. Or I say, or arrange in descending order. You can see 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. You see? So that's how it functions. How's the function of that? Now for this, show or hide tabs. Show or hide tabs. Now it shows, okay, oh, it's even here. Shows paragraph mark and other hidden formats and symbols. So as you keep on formatting and keep on formatting, now you may want to, I may want to see what you've done with it. And why is this document looking this way? Why is this point coming? Why is it flowing this way? Okay, let me check what's going on. You can see. Have you seen that? This is useful most times when you're given a task and say, oh, do it in so format. This particular format you must do it on. And then at the end of the day, you are done and they say, okay, print out and show the format you use, show the format you've used. This is what you do. So every dot indicates a space That's spaces on you use that's the space from the space bar. Every arrow, these arrows you are seeing here, every arrow indicates a tab, and every one of these symbols that look like a P that is faced backward indicates an enter. So that's where you have it. You can see here we have enter, 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 enter. There is space in between. So enter, enter. So be able to say, oh, this is what you have done to the document. So that's the functionality of it. Paragraph. So coming down here, borders. Now when you have, okay, let's move this first one. So borders. You have this, and I want to add a border to this. Now come down here, either bottom border or top border, right border, left border, whichever one. See? So this is mostly used on tables. This border mostly used on tables. Most times you may want to add borders to text, and that's where you get to add them. Now for styles, now you can choose particular styles your work is formatted on. Normal, heading, 7, blah blah blah. Now these are different original styles. So when you want to start typing your document, you can just select any of them. So I'm using the normal style, I'm using no space, I'm using heading 7, I'm using all of this emphasis, I'm using subtle emphasis, blah blah blah. So you can create your own style. Define how the headings are shown, define how tabs are shown, the colors and all of those. So that's what this is all about. Okay, for find, okay, we're done with styles. Let's go to editing. Now, find. Let's assume I'm looking for something on the document and I'm looking for layout, the word layout. You can see, okay, see, layout, you can see 7 results. So it will take me to everywhere I have layout on this document. Every single place I have layout on the document. So it's used to find words, letters, whatever. Now, where is it mostly useful? And let's assume every word layout. I want to convert them to, mm, let's say I want to change layout to format. It's for me to find it out and replace it. That's where replace comes in. So you can see this dialog, we have find, we have replace, right? So layout, I want to replace every word that starts with layout with format. So say replace all or just replace one. Find this. So replace all. Then we have replaced two. Yes. I've replaced made 7 replacements. Okay. So everywhere we had layout, right now we have format there. If you check. So you can see everywhere we have layout that we replace with format. So let's just undo that. So let's go back to replace again. Go to. So you can actually go to pages, sessions, line, bookmarks and the rest. All of these I'm going to explain them in details. But for now, just know that say go to page 5. It will take you to page 5. Go to page 2. It will take you to page 2. See 1, 2. So that's how it works. Line, go to line 100. Take you to line 100. and to keep on blinking there. That's line 100. This part is line 100. So that's what it is. That's what it's useful. If you have bookmarks, which of course we are going to get into when we get into insert, we have comment, we have footnote, and the rest. We'll see how those can be used. So coming down to these additions or add-on, you can create a PDF from here and say, oh, try and do or save and convert to PDF. So convert this thing to PDF. See, easily convert it to PDF. So that's how I convert most of them to PDF and send to you most times. But I'll show you other ways to go about it. Adds in. So if you want to have, there are other functions or functionalities that Office comes with that you can use that are not here. You can just go search Microsoft Market, then look for them. I will give you an example. Using ChatGPT on Microsoft Word, using Autopilot, using all of these are different tools that you can use to make your work easy. You know, Quillbot. So Quillbot example is what Quillbot does is to help you make corrections on your sentences, simplify them or make them sound better also. You can add that. You know, you can add 7 million high quality icons, blah blah blah. You can add all of those. So instead of going to the web to search, so draw.io used for designs. So if you want to add anyone, just click on add and it's downloaded for you. Okay. And take to download. Okay, loading add. So it's trying to load it. Loading error. So once it's ready, you see okay, so it's ready. It has been downloaded. You can see. So pick one, drive file, create one, blah 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 blah. So that's how it is to use Atom. So personally, I use Draw.io to do diagrams for flowchart, pie chart, and the rest. And I'm designing, doing research works. Okay, so that will be all for the home tab. Next time, I'm going to insert and cover up all of this. So far so good. The home tab has more functionality because that's where the major things we need on our Microsoft for formatting, editing, and all rely or are deposited in. That tells you that it's a home and is a home truly. That makes sense or is funny to you. Okay, so insert, as where we drag things either from the internet wherever we want and dump into our design. Draw. I'm going to cover all of this. I'm going to cover all of them. So that will be in our next class. Next class, so go through the video carefully. It will help you to cover up all of this. Ask questions when necessary, and we'll meet in our next class.